inyong pagdalo. Nakasisiyang makita ang mga kapwa kong Lasalliano at Pilipino na magkasamang makikinig at makikilahok sa ating tinatangkilik na mga pinuno. Ang De La Salle University ay matatagpuan sa kabisera ng bansa, ang lungsod ng Maynila. Ngayon, pinagdiriwang natin ang ika-449 na anibersaryo ng ating kapital, Araw ng Maynila. Kami ay nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng mag-aaral, tagapangasiwa at sa publiko para sa inyong partisipasyon sa LaSalle 2020 Conversations with the Leaders, Leadership Amid COVID-19. Bago ang lahat, nais naming paalala muli na magpakita ng wastong decorum, lalo na sa aming seksyon kung saan maaring mag-iwan ng mga komento. Before everything else, we would like to invite Luz Arcal to lead us in our opening prayer.
Let us remember that we are in the holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, the world has been struck with the unprecedented of the COVID-19 pandemic. As followers of God, we turn to you in times of fear and uncertainty as we do in our joys. Despite this, thank you for gathering us here today to listen to our distinguished speakers and panel. And thank you for allowing us to create dialogue on what it means to be a leader, most especially in times of crisis. We ask that you keep everyone safe and that the virus ceases to spread. God, we trust that you are good and do good. Teach us to be your faithful people in this time of global crisis. Take away the fear, anxiety, and feelings of isolation from people receiving treatment or under quarantine. Protect all children, elders, our frontliners, and our health workers from harm, and bring peace to all who love them. We seek comfort in you, knowing that you are our refuge and strength, and always there in times of trouble. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen. Our Lasallian prayer: I will continue, O my God, to do all my actions for the love of you. St. John Baptist de La Salle,
Pray for us
with Jesus in our hearts,
forever.
in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you for that wonderful prayer, Lou. The Philippines was taken aback last March when a pandemic struck the entire world. This extraordinary time has tested our country's ability to adapt and respond to the times of crisis. Leadership amid COVID-19 allows us to look at the efforts of the local government sector and the educational sector and explore the ways that they have dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic. Being in student government myself, I really believe that service does not stop, especially when times are tough, even for myself. To know more about such, I would like to welcome the President of Archers for Unicef to introduce our speakers and moderate leadership amid COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Jian Tan.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Elle. Maligayang araw ng Maynila sa ating lahat. And for our first speaker, he was the former Vice Mayor of Manila from 2007 to 2006. Previously, the chairman of the board and president of the North Luzon Railways Corporation in 2017, and he had also been appointed as the Undersecretary for Special Projects of DSWD for Luzon Affairs in 2018. He was also awarded the Most Outstanding Filipino in the Field of Public Service Award from the Gaoat America Foundation, which is an institution based in Hollywood, California, in the United States of America. Lastly, he was included as the top 10 men who matter by People Asia magazine. Currently, he is serving as our 27th Mayor of Manila. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my greatest honor to call on his presence today, Honorable Mayor Francisco ISKO Moreno Domagoso.
Thank you inyong lahat. It's an honor to be here and with the community, Lasal community, to all the viewers, to Brother Alex Diaz and all brother Lasallian brothers and faculty, non-teaching personnel of Lasal, and all students of Lasal. My wife's graduate of Lasal Taft and true-blooded Lasallian from Subel to Taft. No? And my daughter also goes to Lasal. And my son goes to Lasal also. So anyway, thank you for this opportunity to be with you today. And it's it's a memorable day for the city. The day it was, we're celebrating the day it was established 149 years ago by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. This morning, we visited two sites to give honor and thanks to heroes of Manila. As you all know, one of our rahas, may statwa dito sa ating lungsod, sa may Malate Church. Tinatawag natin mas kilala ninyong si Raha Soliman. And if I may recall your basic history of the country, and if you know some about Manila, Manila is led by the Rahas of our country. Raha Matanda, Raha Bago, Raha Lakandula, and Raha Soliman, to name a few. Then during the conquistador time, or during the conquest of the world, we were conquered by the Spanish, and Christianity was introduced to us, and we adopted to Christianity. And so we went after that to Miguel Lopez de Legazpi to give honor also and thanks yung ating kultura at kostumbre at mga pamana or heritage. And today, mapapansin nyo wala tayong celebration or festivities. Ang araw ng Maynila is festive on a normal day, but we opted to dedicate all the events and festivities for our frontliners, particularly in the health sectors. So sila ang bida natin today. So whatever events that we're doing today and did early this morning, it was all dedicated to our frontliners, particularly in health sectors. So anyway, thank you for this opportunity. I hope I can enlighten you with your questions. I'll do my best in my own little way to answer everything. And happy to be here.
Sige po, Yorme. So, Mayor Isko, would it be okay if I address you as Yorme po? Kasi mas kilala ko
kahit
Yorme.
iskulan. Anything
po,
goes,
Yorme
don't worry.
Sige po. So now that you've given us a background po of the history of Manila, now we will fast forward to what it is today. So, Yorme, Manila was actually one of the earliest cities to have accommodated a COVID-19 patient in the San Lazaro Hospital before we even had local transmissions po. So, what was Manila's response and how did you handle the situation during the earlier parts of the pandemic?
Well, noong nababalitaan ko at nababalitaan natin lahat, yung pandemya nagaganap, ay yung epidemic, at the time epidemic, na nagaganap sa China, I requested the British government to visit London, for that matter. And we were very fortunate to be with the head of the COBRA, the Corona British Response Agency that they created, the COBRA. We've learned a lot of things, and their early studies and approach that we adopted. The moment I've learned about it, I went back home immediately. Parang naging Quiapo lang yung London, because I really wanted to know on how to approach this problem. And immediately we created the code COVID-19 Manila. COVE stands for contain and delay. So fortunately, we have aggressive hospital or medical frontliners in the likes of Santa Ana Hospital Director Dr. Padilla, and immediately follow the plan of your city government. In fact, modesty aside, in less than 1 week, we created the Manila Infectious Disease Control Center, or MIDCC, located in Santa Ana Hospital. Started with 4, became 14, week after, became 33, became 60. Now, all over the city with our 6 hospitals, local hospitals, owned and run by the city government. We have now 171 bed capacity for COVID-19 patients. So that was the immediate plan. And we strengthened our actions to protect frontliners by buying and asking people to donate PPEs, good quality PPEs for our frontliners. And after that, as we go along, we came up with, after a few weeks of implementing COVID-19, it became Code M, COVID-19. Code M, COVID-19 stands for contain, delay, and mitigate. M is for mitigate. Mitigate the socio-economic impact of COVID-19 as now pandemic. It's been about 2 months of ECQs and MECQs. So in our own little way, like what the national government did, is to cushion the effect of this virus to the lives, daily lives or needs of our people. So yan na yung word na naririnig niyong ayuda. Marami niyong nakitang post na what about the ayuda? While we're talking of the SAP, from the national government, we have an alternate, and we are the first, again, the city, modesty aside, I'm just stating facts. First city who introduced local funding for financial over the regular food subsidy that we're giving to 680,000 families in the city of Manila. And this is financial assistance that I don't know if you can research in Google, we call it a CACAF. Crisis Amelioration Assistance Fund. And there's also CACAF 2, second prize. On that alone, we spent about 1.3 billion pesos. And with regard to food subsidy, almost more than $500 million pesos. And thanks to the national government, they gave us about 292 million pesos to buy equipment. And we bought equipment, especially the immediate one, the most important one, which is the movable or mobile X-ray machine for our COVID patient. Because regularly, that's Engineer Andres, the one who built MIDCC. This mobile X-ray machine, digital, digital mobile X-ray machine. We bought 8 for 6 hospitals, preparing for the long haul. We have 6 operational and 2 standby in case that the wear and tear in the middle of the pandemic. You know, naman, it's hard to acquire government processes. So, nung nag-acquire na kami ng sobra para magkaroon man ng aberya, may pamalit kami kagad. Then, after that, with the help of DOH, directions and guidance by the IATF, we created the quarantine facility. I think yesterday I saw data, and I'm grateful to DOH stating Manila is the largest and most quarantine facility. We have 12 quarantine facilities compared to other city who has 2, was 1, but we have 12. Our goal that week, in 3 weeks' time, to build 400 bed capacity for quarantine facility. But we end up finishing 545 quarantine facility bed capacity. These are mixed quarantine facilities. These are probable, suspected, or PUIs, and at the same time confirmed cases for dialysis patients who were infected. At the same time, they call it immunocompromised individual. And another quarantine facility for bagong panganak na nanay na nag-positive at nag-negative yung baby niya. So it's a special quarantine facility for both, for the dialysis patient and because we have the largest dialysis center in the country.
Yes.
So marami rin kami na-infect, about 30 yung na-infect sa amin na dialysis patient. Same thing with the mga bagong panganak na nanay. So para maiwalay kagad namin yung bata at yung nanay magamot agad or mabigyan ng tamang medical attention. So again, in addition, just stating facts. Mahirap kasi magbuhat mo ko, but I have to state facts. I think Manila is the most aggressive with regard to testing. As of today, I think we have about more than 13,000 gold standard testing, which is the swab testing. As per DOH, it's a gold standard in testing. Even the world will agree with that. And simultaneously, we have mass testing utilizing RTK. I think we have about 120,000 people tested through RTK. And while doing all these things, testing and partnering with private sectors, we're building one testing laboratory. And thanks to DOH, DOH provided us, we are one of the 9 beneficiary of DOH assistance. And we passed so many tests already. The HEPA and the HEPA test, I think the vacuum inside and the facility that was rebuilt, and all of the inefficiency. And marami yan. It's a medical term. So we're just awaiting for LTO in a few hours, maybe a day or 2, hoping na may bigay na ng DOH. If that will happen, our regular capacity from 200 to 500 a day will become 1,000 a day of swab testing, the gold standard. You know, swab testing is very expensive, and they're giving it for free for our citizens who were infected. And from an average of 5,000 to 8,000 pesos per test, if soon, hoping, wish, ma-aproba na yung LTO namin, we'll make it to 1,600 pesos na lang ang cost namin as a city government. And we can have 94 tests every 2 hours, times 4, it's 8 hours a day. And times 2 for 2 shifts. So you do your math, and naturally, we will strengthen our gold standard testing. But be that as it may, we will continue to be partnered with private sectors, and the mass testing using RTK will continue. And another good news, the United States President, about a month ago, came up with a press conference showing a machine made by Abbott USA. This is a mobile testing machine approved by their FDA. And that day, when I saw it, I wrote Abbott Philippines to send our request to Abbott USA for the city to acquire such machine. But our request was denied at the time because they don't want to sell. They are not allowed to sell yet at the time those testing machine, to be sold outside of USA. But let me break the news with the Lasallians today.
Yes, po.
Abbott Philippines wrote me a letter just this morning. I received it that they are now allowed to sell machine. So we will acquire that. I think we will have a better mass testing capacity. This can handle 200 per hour capacity. So, may awa ang Diyos. Hopefully, tomorrow we will have a meeting. So what I'm saying is that as you see, the entire ecosystem in addressing COVID-19, from tracing, surveillance, quarantine facility, testing here, testing there, COVID center facilities, building our own testing lab, and creating more approach. It's a continuing development. I'm not saying tapos na ang COVID sa Manila. No, it will never. It will never, with all honesty. It's my modest assessment. No matter how far we have reached already, it will never stop COVID until there's vaccine. So the best thing that we can do is to literally control the infection rate. I think that's the best approach, to be modest about or conservative about the effort of your national government and your local government. And I'm happy to say, I don't want to raise your expectations, but again and again, for the past 2 weeks, we had stable numbers. I'm not happy about it, but at least there is already what we call the effects of all the efforts being conducted or done by your city employees, particularly with Manila Health Department and our hospitals. In our own little way, we are managing it. But there is still danger. I guarantee you that. Walang magre-relax. Wag na wag kayong magre-relax. My God. Nag-umpisa yan sa isa. Now it's millions. So hanggat merong pasyente sa Pilipinas, sa Metro Manila, Manila will be still in danger. So it has to be a concerted, synchronized effort. And so far, I am grateful with my colleague, mayors of Metro Manila. We are always in sync with the national government's policy, direction made by IAPM. So, yun, isang direksyon, sapagkat this is one thing that I can guarantee. There is no playbook in this pandemic. Not even great nations. They cannot, I don't know kung tama yung English ko, cope with with the challenges. Kahit sila tiklop, kahit sila dapa, with all the money and science and resources that they have. Talagang this is a very unique situation. That's why the only solution for this is to really find a cure. But for now, in the absence of that, people must discipline, or self-discipline must be observed. Protect yourselves, care for yourselves. By doing so, you automatically caring for your family and your neighbors. That's the only participations that I'm asking for from the people of Manila. Yung kusang disiplina. So that we can do and properly do our job efficiently. And I'm happy that hindi natin na maximize yung ating mga quarantine facilities. That is a good sign. And I don't want to maximize those. Sana nga magtuloy-tuloy na. So we are at level for the past 2 weeks. Just so you know.
Since you mentioned po, Yorme, actually, I'd like to commend you po kasi I was still in Taft during the time na nag-lockdown and all the enhanced community quarantine. And I saw for myself na 1:30 a.m. nagdi-disinfect pa ang mga taga Maynila na staff. And I would really like to thank you also kasi you were one of the first cities that actually gave ayuda sa mga taga-condo. And a lot of our students are actually still living in condos and dorms right now. So malaking tulong po yun sa amin. And as you mentioned also po, since Manila is actually at the forefront in all these different means of helping sa health, one of the next priority areas of Manila is actually education, which is very aligned with what DLSU stands for. So Manila was actually able to raise over 1 billion pesos in funds and donations for the students of Manila. We want to know more about how you actually made this happen and what are the next steps that will actualize this project.
Well, again and again, Manila became, it was Manila first to offer assistance to students. I'm just grateful to God, to Jesus, that I'm surrounded with sensible people. May sense of duty to help me find ways to this newly created policy by DepEd, what they call the distant learning. And it's going to be challenging to the students in public education systems. And I'm a product of public education system. Yung aking daycare center, graduate sa Rosario Almari Elementary School and Tondo High School. So I know how it will be hard for mothers and fathers in the coming months on how to adapt what you call the modified or new way of learning through online. So initially, we found about 500 something million. Then sabi ko, give me 72 hours. Then it became 994 million. And now it became 1,065 million, which will address 275,000 from previous year's numbers, students in the city of Manila. And there's this formula that were introduced to us by DepEd, at least 3 per household ang estudyante ng public education system. So if that is a correct math, if we divide it, 271, at least I think 91,000 more or less tablets. But we opted to plan to buy 110,000 for our kinder, elementary, high school, and senior high students. Pinasobrahan ko dahil inaabatan ko rin marami din mga magulang, dala ng krisis na ito, ang mahirapan magpaaral sa pribadong paaralan. So there will be a surge in enrollment in public education. In fact, we have now a data because as of last week, or since June 1, meron ng online enrollment. As of last week, we have about 3,900 transferees from private school. Hindi ko naman dahil nahulaan. Inaasahan ko lang na may hirapan ng mga magulang ngayon sa mahal ng tuition fees sa privado. You're very lucky you today that your parents still has the ability to send you to such prestigious school. But that's not the case for everybody. So that's why nag-collapse kami. I'll tell you what's collapse. Let's do government budgeting 101. Every year, every local government unit or even national government would prepare budgeting. It's usually done on October before that current year, and hopefully it will be approved within that year, like in the case 2019 for 2020 budget. So everybody, including the national government, we did not saw this that this thing will happen to us. So there are plans like school buildings, events, and other miscellaneous expenses that are being prepared and approved before local legislative body. So when you say collapse or realign, is that you give up projects. So we gave up a lot of classroom to be built, and it is very logical. There's nobody is going to use it. So it is logical for every local government unit to collapse these things. And it can be done next year. We can appropriate X number of funds for this year para sa next year. So we collapse and I'll tell you another option like palarong pambansa. Hindi mangyayari yun. Palarong Maynila. Hindi rin mangyayari yun. Cost to ID. Hindi rin mangyayari yun. Hindi makailangan ng ID. Maraming mga bagay. It's just that you have to be imaginative to really look deeper on how to realign and reprioritize. So still priority, it's just that reprioritize. So you're still in the priority. Hindi na dahil sa hindi na siya priority. Kasi isa pa rin naman yung makikinabang. Isang sektor pa rin yung makikinabang, which is the educational sector. Educational institution. So I'm grateful to Dr. Lim, of our superintendent in Division of City School and Division of City School Family and to the school board. Immediately when I had called emergency session for our school board, they attended. And in less than 4 days, we came up with the plan. Pag-isipin mo, August pa, no? August pa naman yung August 24. But as I have said a while ago, if you remember, it's hard for the government to procure. It takes time. So we have to prepare all legislative needs to realign such fund. Very fortunate. I am very fortunate to be surrounded by good people. So I owe it to them. Yes, I may have an idea, but you need everybody's cooperation. And I'm grateful to that. So yun, kaya ang aming mga estudyante, hopefully, ma-achieve namin because meron ng pera. That's good. Ma-achieve namin na lahat sila, if that is the correct numbers, it's not my numbers, it's an official number based on studies. So everybody will have tablet. kinder, elementary, high school, and senior high. Now, there's another cost to learn in this so-called distant learning. The cost of bandwidth, or mas madalit salita para maintindihan ng inyong mga viewers, internet. But it's bandwidth. That's the most exact description of that, bandwidth. And bandwidth nowadays costs money. And mahirap ang buhay. And it's going to take about 10 months, 8 to 10 months of distant learning. I think baka mahirapan yung mga nanay at tatay to acquire bandwidth. Unless you're in España, which we're about to launch, the free Wi-Fi, as per plan. And tapos yung dito sa Cartilla, may Wi-Fi dito. Yung katulad sa New York, yung katulad sa New York na nilagay natin dito sa Cartilla.
Yung support.
Magkakaroon na sa ano, yung sabi ko sa inyo, gagawin ko sa buong Espanya. Coast to coast. So malapit na siyang i-launch. No? Ninakaw lang yung mga kable during the supposed to be launch na yun. Ninakaw lang yung mga kable. O doon sa mga kable na nagnakaw noon, tulonggis kayo. Walang kuryente yun. Fiber optics yun, hindi yun nabibenta. Walang bibili noon. Kaya lang, nasira nyo. O ngayon, nasira ninyo yung buong line. Wala ngayon, pagdaanan ng bandwidth. But anyway, it's being prepared. Repaired. It's going to be launched soon. So going back to the cost of bandwidth to study, malaking gastos yan. So we appropriated 10 gigabyte of bandwidth per student, not per household. So per student. So ibig sabihin, maring isang makina lang ang gamit mo, pero appropriated bandwidth for you to access the online class, for you to able to attend, not utilizing your brothers or sisters' bandwidth na kailangan din niya sa eskwela. So lahat ng estudyante bibigyan ng bandwidth. About 10 gig per student per month. Utilizing SIM card. Kasi yung gagamitin natin na tablet may SIM card. Para auto, we call this, nare-refill. Tapos may rollover principle. Nilagay namin sa aming TOR, no? Rollover. Ibig sabihin, those underutilized bandwidth can be recycled to the user. So, secured ang bandwidth nila for this year. Secured yung tablet nila for this year. And what about the teachers? We have about 10,300 teachers. So we bought a laptop. We plan to buy them a laptop with also Wi-Fi. What do you call this? Ang tawag din yung mobile Wi-Fi.
Pocket Wi-Fi.
Pocket Wi-Fi with bandwidth also.
Yes.
So we bought 11,000. We're going to buy 11,000 out of 10,300. No? Kung sakaling magdadagdag ng teachers in the middle of the school year, kasi dumami ang estudyante, so meron kaming stock. At kung sakaling masira, meron din kaming stock. Same thing with tablet. So yun ang gano'n. Tapos, even our students receive ayuda. 275,000 students, elementary, kinder, elementary, high school, and senior high receive hygiene kit. They receive already hygiene kit and food products for their family. On top of what their mother and father or parents receive through
Ayuda.
the 3 months plus the cash and all other stuff.
So Yorme, it was actually really nice to hear how your leadership style is, na you have a vision and a strong team, work together and this is happening right now in the city of Manila. So we actually admire you for that po, and I really think it's one of the great characteristics that every leader should have. So since DLSU is actually in the city of Manila, we
Thank
would
you
like
for
to
your
ask...
kind words.
Thank you po,
But
Your
with
Honor.
all honesty, it's not me. It's not me. It's a concerted effort of everybody.
Opo. So yun po, like DLSU is actually one of the main stakeholders in the city of Manila. And especially as one of the leading universities in the city and the country, we would like to know po, how can we support the city of Manila? Especially today, Araw ng Maynila, we'd like to know how we can help you more po.
Thank you for asking.
Yes.
Simple lang. Meron ako ipagagawa sa inyo. One, we are under a state of health emergency. Please protect yourselves. Wear mask. Don't ever trust anybody. Don't. Including me. Nobody excuse in this virus. You really have to really protect yourselves with tools like masks. In fact, the city of Manila, through our donations na na-accumulate namin, sa mga taong bayan, these are $20, $100, $500, 100,000 peso, 50,000 pesos, 5,000 pesos, salaries ng empleyado, donate nila sa Maynila. First time in history, at sa tagal ko na sa gobyerno, walang tao nagdo-donate sa gobyerno. In fact, tama na yung binayad nilang buwis at nabubwisit nga sila kapag hindi nila nararamdaman yung buwis nila. But this time, it's different. So we accumulated so many millions. What we did with that donation is we came up with a livelihood program because of as I have told you, Code M, the mitigating part, mitigating the socio-economic effect to the families. So marami na walang trabaho. So we generated jobs through livelihood. But addressing COVID. So bumili kami ng tela, pinatahi namin sa tao, and we're going to create about 1 million washable face masks in the city of Manila. And it's been running for the past 1 week. Our goal is to finish the 1 million face masks in 2 months, hopefully. And it's a lot of money for a skilled individual. Babae, lalaki, PWDs. And I'm very happy when I saw 2 PWDs na putol lang paa, nagmamakinilya, sila pa maraming production. And now we extended it, the work from home concept. So nanawagan kami sa lahat ng mga mananahay sa buong Maynila. Nag-itahin na lang nila, didalan namin tela sa bahay nila and then produce a mask for everybody. The concept is not original. I have to give credit where I saw it. I saw it in Czechoslovakia. They did it. That's why ang baba ng kanilang local transmission. So, kinopya ko lang yung idea na yun. In-innovate lang natin because they did it voluntarily for the entire population, the community among themselves. No? But we're building it for everybody. I think we have about, for the past 1 week, we have created about 15,000 face masks. We already distributed the poorest of the poor. Inuna na natin yung mga area of concern in terms of exposure ng COVID. So, that's why I'm saying that is ganun din ang hinihingi ko sa inyo. Ano ang may tutulong nyo sa siyudad ng Maynila? Disiplinahin nyo ang inyong sarili. Ingatan ninyo ang inyong sarili. Tulong nyo na yung sa amin. Pag pinagmalasakitan ninyo yung sarili. That's 1. And 2, meron kayong pedestrian lane in front of your gates. And another one that's Binil in front of McDonald's. And another one, the Jollibee side in Vito Cruz. Doon kayo tatawid, ha? Yun lang. Wala akong ibang re-request sa inyo. I want you to show, kahit na medyo privileged kayo, you know how to follow, and you can walk, I try to make it safer. I put enough lightings. In history of the city, I don't know, you ask your teacher, ang dilim ng Taft Avenue. But when I assume immediately about, I think 3 months time, pag-assume, Nilagyan ko ng ilaw sa kalye at saka ilaw sa bangketa. It's like this, a very simple, non-chuchuwarwap na ilaw. Walang mga kumakulay na, simple, straightforward lighting to every students walking in the streets of that area na mapili nila na maliwalas. So yun lang hinihingi ko sa inyo. You follow simple traffic rule. If you do that, you're not only doing that because I asked you to do that and because you asked me how can you help, but you're also educating the next generation. Kasi itong generasyon ngayon, medyo ang tawag namin dyan, you cannot teach old dogs new tricks, but we can, as young individual, to show and be persistent, to do the hard way. The hard way sometimes is the correct way. At yun, hindi natin gagawin para sa sarili lang natin, but to show to others, the next generation, yung mas bata sa atin, yung nakakakita. I think naturally, siguro given 10, 15 years from now, Manila will be great again. Because itong laban natin, alam mo, the problem with Manila, just so you know, just for the sake of conversation. Unlike Metro Manila, kami mga bagong mayor, sila kasi yung mga city nila na nag-assume sila, kahit new mayor sila, gawa na. Established na. In Manila, it's the other way around. Bukod sa highly dense, you can Google it. Wrap up na po, Yorme. So sige, madaldal talaga ako. Kasi I want to be a teacher. Diba, I told you, someday I'll teach. Ayan ang pag-retire ko. So anyway, going back. So the challenge with Manila, there's old bad habits, and it cannot change overnight, and I cannot do it alone. But I'm going to be persistent and consistent no matter what. No ifs, no buts. I'll put things in right perspective to the best of my ability in my own little way, but I need everybody's cooperation. So having said that, yun ang mga challenges natin. Nangabulok tayo. Yung hinanguan, yung pinasukan ko, talagang lugmok. So kaya ang daming challenge. But tingin ko naman, pag ang taong bayan, tingin ko, no, naturally, pag nagising ang taong bayan, oo nga, no? Sige nga, tingnan natin kung talagang sundin nga natin to. Tingnan, pagbigyan natin ulit yung City of Manila. Tingnan natin, baka nga magtinutong mga tao sa gobyerno sa City of Manila. So that's what I'm asking from you. Give us a chance again to prove ourselves that this is the capital of the country, the window of the country, the pearl of the Orient, the Paris of the East. In our own little way, unti-unti, baby steps, every day, but it's going to be consistent. When we do something, when we implement something, we guarantee, even doon na ako mapako, it will be consistent. Yan lang na para may continuity. So yun, wrap up na raw eh. Sorry, ang daldal ko. At least ulit ang isang question mo.
Tama naman po. Actually, maraming question for sure later. Pero, Norma, thank you so much for being one of the many citizens of Manila who stepped up, and even as our mayor, not giving up on our city. Thank you so much for that. And we also commend you
I
for...
cannot give up. If I give up, who will? No? Ito na nga yung inangon natin eh. So we must not give up. We can fail. That is a guarantee. We may fail. But I would rather try and fail than fail but not trying at all. There's a saying about it, but it's the same thing. I would rather have you all together, come all together, let's work hand in hand, and let's try something. Because stagnation will give you nothing. Kaya ako lagi medyo, I'm a believer of a principle of temperature. Anything above zero is positive.
Ang cute naman po ng quote na yun, Yorme.
Logical lang.
Honestly po, Yorme, baka you'd wanna teach in DLSU someday. So, if you want...
Teach in Lasal.
Opo, Yorme.
Actually, I'm thinking of teaching in Lasal kasi may bago kayong college dyan. College of Governance. I think it's about 10-year-old, if I'm not mistaken, or less. Someday. When I retire, I really wanted to teach. I was fortunate. I was given a chance. UP taught me very well. I'm very grateful to UP, especially NCPAG. No? Talaga nagtiyaga sila sa akin kahit high school graduate lang ako at the time. They really taught me well, and I've learned a lot of things in UP NCPAG. And my experience, and of course some academic background from best universities in the world, which what we're doing right now. Miyawan Diyos, so if I can share it someday, I don't know, if God will permit someday. Kaya lang, madaldal akong professor.
Marami time in Lasalle. One class maybe, governance. So, yun. Maraming salamat po ulit, Yorme.
Thank you.
So, we hope you can stay with us as we move on to the next part of our talks.
Okay.
So, moving on to our next speaker for today's forum. She is the co-chair of the Lasallian Partners Council, which is the body composed of lay partners working closely with the brothers in animating, forming, and broadening the lay partners' participation, ownership of, and commitment to the mission. He is also a member of the International Council, the Lasallian Association, and the Educational Mission, which is a deliberative and collaborative body of brothers and representing the worldwide institution. To speak more about how Lasallian leadership is manifested in this time of pandemic and how the university responds to its current challenges, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our very own Vice President for Lasallian Mission, Ms. Fritzie de Vera.
Good afternoon, everyone. Magandang araw ng Maynila sa inyong lahat. Magandang hapon po, Mayor. Thank you for sharing your experience of leadership in Manila during this time. You're very welcome po to teach in De La Salle University. So we'll wait for that opportunity. So we're very excited.
The problem with me, I will never be qualified because I don't have PhD or MBA. That's one of the requirements. I don't know. I'll cross the bridge when I get there. I'll be honored someday if given a chance.
Yes, Mayor.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Of course, and welcome to all our student leaders and our students watching the live stream. Thank you to Student Life for organizing this program, LaSalle 2020. It's always good to have this opportunity for our students to have a space where we can talk about how we are all doing during this time. And particularly this afternoon, I'd like to share with you how we pursued Lasallian leadership, or how we experience the kind of leadership we expect from our dear Lasallians during this time. I'd like to also take this chance to share with you some of our programs and initiatives in De La Salle University during this time of crisis. So every time I share with you or we talk about Lasallian leadership, we always anchor it with how we define ourselves as Lasallians. And in my sharing, I again would like to use our Lasallian values as my anchor on how I describe leadership during this time. So I'll start with, of course, our first value of faith. We hear stories about people losing faith. They ask questions like, bakit nangyari to? Bakit ako nagkasakit? Or bakit nagkakasakit parents ko? Bakit mawawalan ako ng trabaho ngayon? So we hear these questions, and because we also try to seek for the answers, we need to know the reason. We try to understand. And I think that's when faith comes in, despite the uncertainty, the fears, and anxieties. Faith allows us to understand what is happening. It is faith that provides us with answers. And we oftentimes think that because there's so much uncertainty, we can't find meaning anymore. No? I was fortunate enough to listen to one of the sharing, no, in one of the activities of our students. A Jesuit priest shared, no, and he said, meaning can be drawn from how we respond to a crisis, how we act, the choice of getting up, doing something more productive, managing our emotions, our anxieties, provide us the meaning that we need. And in these moments, our faith tells us, that God is present even during this time of suffering. God is here at the midst of our difficulties. Our faith reminds us that amid suffering, we know that there's something good that will come out of it. Because we have faith in ourselves, in people, and in God or any higher being. So, where is Lasallian leadership in faith? It is when we pursue, we persevere. I'd like to maybe cite an example or use this an example. We persevere to serve education, to provide education through online learning. We recognize the difficulties and we try our best to respond to them because our mission and charism is providing education no matter what. You heard, of course, about the story of how our founder, Saint Lasalle, pursued education amidst crisis and difficulties. Cases were thrown at him, some of the brothers left him, and he offered everything just to continue establishing schools, because he had faith, and he had faith in God's will. And I like what Mayor Yorme shared a while ago, no, about how the local government find ways to pursue mass testing. No? And now, Lasallians, we know that we need to stand up. We need to recover. We become more resilient. We are braver. We have the courage to push on no matter what. And I'd like to quote Yorme, no? We can fail, but we can never give up. Yan. So thank you, Mayor, for that. So in De La Salle University, sharing with you some of our programs, we have a program we call LIVE, Lasallian Initiatives versus the Pandemic, which includes various programs. No? We have the TLC, or the telepsychology. This is a program of the psychology department, counseling and educational psychology department. And we also have the telemental health services of the Office of Counseling and Career Services, and the spiritual accompaniment of the Lasallian Pastoral Office and the Laguna Mission Office. These programs provide a venue or space for conversations with counselors, psychologists, religious and lay people. This program helps students, faculty, staff, or even parents, no? And even our frontliners or our homeless guests who stayed on campus, no? And help them cope with the difficulties they have experienced, and help them find meaning and understanding, and to gain more trust and faith in oneself. I've shared with you some of their publicity materials. That's what we showed in the social media. But you know what is interesting in these programs, particularly in TLC, is that they have gathered more than, I think, 70 volunteers of counselors, psychologists, helping out and providing the listening ear to anyone who needs accompaniment. And this is just one, I'd like to say, one of the blessings the pandemic brought us, the gift of volunteerism. And this leads me to my next value, which is, of course, you know this, service. I was very amazed by how the Lasallians responded to the call to serve during this time of COVID-19. And I'm happy to note that the mayor mentioned about people donating, and reaching out to help. Even when we are in ECQ, I heard stories or saw on FB the efforts of Lasallians, students, alumni, or even faculty making their own individual contributions, assisting the homeless, the frontliners, and the vulnerable communities. It sparked creativity and innovation from faculty, alumni, and students. We've created a symptom tracking app. We have the ventilator project of a faculty. We have the mobile hospital of some of our alumni. These projects really helped and contributed in responding to the challenges. The science service clearly comes out during a crisis like this. It's the value that allows us to be selfless. We know that it's dangerous to go out, diba? Sabi nga, bawal lumabas. But you see them distributing relief packs. I saw students still going out, visiting hospitals. It's the Lasallian value that disturbs us and pushes us to do something, to act. A clear manifestation of leadership in service is, I'd like to share with you, you know this, the Kada Uno initiative. You all heard about Kada Uno. It's an initiative of the De La Salle brothers to respond to the challenges of the pandemic. Particularly, so one of the contributions, it provided relief to families, not just in Manila, but to Laguna, Rizal, Parañaque. It provided PPEs or medical supplies to hospitals nationwide. It also included the Safe Shelters Project, housing the homeless and the frontliners. I'm happy that Mayor ISKO is here. Like to share with him the efforts also of the university and all the other LaSalle schools who partnered with AJ Kalinga Center in providing shelters to our homeless brothers and sisters who are in Manila. We actually have 7 shelters housing almost 500 homeless guests. The shelters provided food every day during the ECP period. We partnered with the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, and also the Archbishop of Manila. They've provided the needed support for this initiative. Particularly in DLSU, we served around 70 homeless guests. And we also provided a shelter for our PGH frontliners, our nurses. I think we've accommodated around more than 400 nurses in weekly shifts. Kada Uno mobilized LaSalle schools all over the Philippines and engaged a wide network of Lasallians all over the country. Some even abroad, participating, very much engaged. They launched a program, 1,000 Kada Uno. It's a call to donate 1,000 pesos, enough to buy food packs for a family for a week. This call mobilized a lot of our former student leaders, alumni, whom we consider now as our partners addressing the needs of vulnerable families. So aside from sparking volunteerism, service, creativity, innovation, this Kada Uno initiative also created a community. And I think that leads me to my last value, communion and mission. During the pandemic, it's very obvious, our limitation. We cannot gather physically. Our gatherings are canceled, our major events did not push through. But I'd like to think that the spirit of community remained to be present and very much alive. Because as a Lasallian community, we recognize our common purpose during this time. As Lasallians, we are all gifted with the value of association. We know that we cannot do things alone. We need partnerships. We need networking. We work with the local government and non-government institutions in responding to what needs to be done. In DLSU, we emphasize and advocated for the culture of care. During the ECQ period, we recognize that the work of our contractual workers, our concessionaires, our construction workers were greatly affected. So we launched the Lasallian's Care. This is an initiative providing financial assistance to our ates and kuyas, our concessionaires and our workers. We also introduced the need to check on each other, magkamustahan, through our Lasallian's chat. We call it Lasallian's chat, encouraging people to extend an effort to affirm one another during this difficult time. And quite recently, during our anniversary, our 109th anniversary of De La Salle University, our Foundation Day, we launched a community building activity. We did through Zoom. We call it Lasallians Go Online. It's our way to provide a venue for fun and games and a space to gather people, even though virtually. So the gift of community should be felt even if we are in isolation or in quarantine. So now, I think all those who are watching this live stream, we are all in one in agreement that we need to nurture this spirit, this gift of community by always getting in touch with one another, checking on our friends, our classmates, our colleagues. So maybe to summarize my sharing and perhaps in closing, Lasallian leadership is experienced in this time of the pandemic as a leadership that is strengthened by faith. Lasallians have the capacity to be resilient, to accept change, to persevere, never give up, and be courageous. It's the leadership that is driven by the zeal to serve. The value of service taught us to be selfless, to act without asking for any reward, to move with compassion and empathy. And finally, Lasallian leadership is inspired by the gift of community and association. We knew that we are not alone. We have one another. We belong to a family. The Lasallian family, always willing to serve the bigger community. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much po, Ms. Fritzie, for sharing that. And especially highlighting how communion and mission is one of the most important things, aside from resilience during this time. So now that we're here actually on a live stream, it actually shows that we're transitioning to going online, not only for leisure and even for calls, but even for education. So we actually want to know more about how DLSU is preparing for the transition to remote online learning. And we want to know what challenges and successes have been experienced by the administration.
Yes. Recently, we launched our program or our initiative we called Lasallian's Reach. It's called Lasallian's Remote and Engaged Approach for Connectivity in Higher Education. So that's Lasallian's Reach. And there are different areas there that provide you with the information on how we prepare as a community, how we prepare our students, our faculty. So first and foremost, of course, the health and safety of the members of the community is of primal importance. So that's why we set up health and safety protocols on campus. No? So following safe distancing or physical distancing, we also have a way to, of course, disinfection, sanitation processes, really health checks, for those who will be coming in on campus, those who are essential, to work on campus. Of course, we need to prepare our faculty members. We need to we have to be consistent with the quality of the programs that we give or teach our students. We need to retain the quality of the teaching and learning experience that we provide. That's why we have professional learning community on online course deliveries. We have training programs for delivering online classes. We have webinars, delivering quality online education. And we prepare our faculty members how to develop modules online. We also have assistance to our faculty members, our students. We have discounts and on tuition and fees. We have eased payment terms. We provided technology support for our students. Recently, the Office of Student Affairs launched the Lasallian Student Welfare Program that provides emergency relief and also technology support for students. We also provided support for our scholars, assistance to our faculty also for technology support. Of course, the accompaniment for our students and faculty will always be there. Our telepsychology, our counseling support. So those are the initiatives on how we prepare both our faculty, our staff, and of course our students in the shift to online learning.
Okay po. So actually, this would be the perfect opportunity also to ask the students to be side by side with the faculty as we transition to online learning. It's not going to be easy, but we are very thankful for the different opportunities that Salle is actually providing, from mental health to student well-being, and we'll make sure to find ways to support you further. So aside from this, you actually brought up Kada Uno, and now we know it's actually entering phase 2 of the project. We would like to know how it's going to be evolving further as we transition into the new normal.
Yeah, Kada Uno will surely evolve. We want to harness the energy and the willingness of the volunteers and of the network we have established. In the next 6 months, the Kada Uno initiative will move towards phase 2, expanding its efforts to focus on 4 areas. So health, we would like to provide support to hospitals and health centers for the COVID-19 rapid test or PCR testing. Hopefully, we will be able to give or contribute to that effort. Also, again, on hunger, we collaborate with academic institutions and business sector in an action research process to creatively respond to the issue of hunger, especially brought by COVID-19. And we continue our relationship with the homeless. We still have partnership with the AJ Kalinga Foundation and the different religious congregations in providing a safe shelter for the homeless, and providing them with opportunities for livelihood. And lastly, it will serve as a hub for teaching and learning. We will hopefully provide resources for capacity building and resource generation for other educational centers and our partner schools in the Philippines or even abroad. So what is also interesting for part 2 is that may not just be limited to Lasallian communities or Lasallian schools. We're also engaging. We hope to engage other schools and other partner institutions outside the Lasallian community.
So, Ms. Fritzie, since a lot of students are actually very willing to help, is there any way that they can get connected to Kada Uno?
We will be launching the phase 2. Of course, we will be calling for volunteers, those who are very much willing to engage in the different projects that we have prepared and different initiatives to support the areas that I've mentioned. I'd like to encourage our student leaders to also considering partnering with Kada Uno and provide initiatives or opportunities for volunteerism or engagement and support. So you can watch out for the primer that we will release specific for the Kada Uno Phase 2.
Okay po. So we'll be sure to really look out for the primer and everything else about Kada Uno. And we would like to thank Ms. Fritzie and Yorme for sharing their stories on how the city of Manila and even DLSU are actually combating COVID-19. So we'll be back after a very short commercial break.
Different places, speaking different voices. But now we are gathered here to fulfill our mission as one, caring for the last, the lost, the least, becoming the change that we all want to see. Big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we lift Jesus in our hearts. We are one. No matter may come our way, together we unite. Guided by our founder, we can stand the test of time, walking on the path of what is right. The Lasallians without limits, now we rise. Together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we lift Jesus in our hearts. Together never shall we fail. Together we sing. Hail, hail, hail. We are one big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we lift Jesus in our hearts. Oh, we are one big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we lift Jesus in our hearts.
And we're back for the second part of our forum. So we have actually invited a panel of Lasallian leaders from different sectors who will provide us with further insight. I'll start off with a question, and our panel will be sharing their own reflections and experiences while also asking their own questions that can contribute to our meaningful dialogue today. So to lead our panel of reactors, I would like to introduce Brother Alexander Diaz, FSC, the current principal of LaSalle Green Hills, who's formerly the Chief Operating Officer of DLSP and board member of De La Salle Brothers. Alongside him are Ronin Leviste, the Vice President for External Affairs of the DLSU USG, and Caroline Sahagun, the President of RC Life Taft. So as we start our discussion today, I would like to ask our reactors, what are your thoughts and insights on the sharing of our speakers? Brother Alex?
Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Ms. Fritzie, our officers, and as well as our viewers. The presentation I'm going to show is a reaction to generally what the basic education has been doing in terms of intervening with this pandemic. And at the same time, the presentation echoes a number of items brought out by Mayor and Ms. Fritzie. The pandemic brought our lives to a stop. I'm sure that never did we imagine that something like this would happen in our lifetime. Just like that, our routines were interrupted, our hearts became unsettled, our minds out of focus, and just brought so much uncertainty to everyone. Most of the administrators, especially in the basic ed, felt lost on how to tread the new normal. So we needed stability. The question in our minds, myself, the administrators, was what will school be like for our students after this? We needed to put direction, regain some sense of normalcy to the lives of our students, in that our mission of education should continue and must never be compromised. Going online before everyone else embraced it fully was the way to go. The pandemic may have physically closed our schools, but that will not stop us from delivering education to our students. This instead allowed us to be more innovative by ensuring that we make learning accessible to every student. While no one is really prepared for the pandemic, how we tread it amidst the uncertainties is what we can really prepare for. With the directions of our school president here in LaSalle Green Hills, guided by the advice of the school board, we gradually put things together by coordinating online meetings with administrators. So we looked at 3 scenarios, which became 2, and we laid out plans and preparations were done. Since then, we religiously met until we came up with the best possible option. We even had an inside joke like we were considered as experts in Zoom already because non-stop meetings every day practically. So we launched Fletch because education should not be compromised, that stability and some sense of normalcy are needed, especially in this time when things seem very fluid. Fletch, or flexible Lasallian education through technology and collaboration at home. Like the fletches of an arrow, stability is assured. Fletch is not just a program, but a direction where education can be meaningful, collaborative, values-based, supported, and safe. For this school year, we continue to promote Lasallian education grounded on values of faith, service, and communion, and aim at holistic development of the learner by providing a safe and supported environment despite going online. Much enthusiasm is present right now because of the many changes happening in LaSalle Green Hills. We're integrating the departments, we're shifting to trimestral system, we're going co-ed, and we're implementing distance learning. The changes are somewhat overwhelming, and at the same time, we do very well. We strive to do very well, especially this coming school year. So that's Fletch. No? That's how we adapted to this new normal, how we intend to tread this new normal in the basic ed, and how we've been preparing very well for our students because, as mentioned, education is to continue and it must not be compromised. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much po, Brother Alex. Aside from this, how are the students actually doing right now for LaSalle Green Hills? Are you in constant communication po with them?
Yes, a part of the Fletch program was to really do simulation of classes. When we initially rolled out the plan of going online, going distance learning, we were met with various reactions from stakeholders. Because it's new, nobody could really fathom or imagine how online learning can be done or if it is possible at all. So to address that, early on, we already did simulation of classes. So we called for volunteers, volunteer teachers who were willing and confident enough to simulate an online class. We called the help of the parents to sign up their kids. We were even joking that the simulations were really for the parents more than for the kids because the students, digital natives, are already adept to technology. But the parents who were more apprehensive then, really got to experience and understand that online learning, distance learning is possible and that it can work. And through our simulations with Fletch Preview, we're able to get those feedback. And so we continue to improve the program as we prepare for our opening this coming July 20.
Okay po. So good luck po with the opening of classes. And since you mentioned communicating with students, we'd actually love to hear from Ronin, one of our student leaders, right now. So Ronin, I know that your USG office was actually one of the first to respond to COVID-19 by donating your funds to the PGH, which is located in Manila. So I even saw photos of you delivering the boxes yourself in your mask. And I just want to ask you, how did you find motivation and direction despite the afterthought of having to take care of yourself at the same time?
Well, I think everything we did was really rooted in our belief that every Filipino deserves a chance at a better life, regardless whether we are in the middle of a pandemic or not. And just like Mayor, you're right, my teammates and I, we realigned our budget for the coming term for the activities that we had set out. And using that money, we were able to create our own initiative where we gave hundreds of medical equipment to our neighbors in PGH. And I remember at the time, PGH was just recognized as the COVID referral center. So we went there, we met with the UP Student Council as well as the heads of PGH, and we continued to discuss on how we can be of more help to what they are doing. And it is because of that we launched hashtag Conquer COVID, which became open to all Lasallian students. And from there, we donated over 200 food packs to 200 different families around the metro, including Manila. We also currently funds to give our deaf brothers and sisters transparent face masks. So together with several USG units, we really just wanted to be of help and of service to our frontliners and those heavily affected by the virus. And I think everything we've done, even before the pandemic, during the Taal eruption, during the numerous fires that happened in Manila, has been geared towards achieving one thing: building a tomorrow together, not only among the people in Lasal, but also with all Filipinos. Siguro what drove most was seeing so many compassionate Lasallians lead their own initiatives in their own communities around the country. And to me, this is the best one. Because like what Miss Fritzie said earlier, it's giving without counting the cost, laboring and working without asking for any form of reward. And I believe that this is the most selfless act that one student can make. And I draw inspiration from this. I draw inspiration from our everyday Lasallians. Students like me, with younger, older than us, our teachers, our school faculty, admin, and staff, and even our alumni, our everyday heroes. And I've never been so proud to call myself a Lasallian, and it's been my privilege to be surrounded by these kind-hearted and genuine individuals who I continue to learn from. And I guess to those listening today, the truth is you don't need leaders to tell you what to do, because
Ronin. We'll be back after a short
God and
commercial break.
country, and you showed us.
For you, Ronin.
We may come from different places, speaking different voices, but now we are gathered here to fulfill our mission as one, caring for the last, the lost, the least, becoming the change that we all want to see. We are one big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we live Jesus in our hearts. We are one. No matter what may come our way, together we unite. Guided by our founder, we can stand the test of time, walking on the path of what is right. The songs without limits, now we ride. We are one big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we live Jesus in our hearts. Together never shall we fail. Together we sing hail, hail, hail. We are one big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we live Jesus in our hearts. Oh, we are one big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we live Jesus in our hearts. Forever we live Jesus in our hearts. We are one. We are one. We are
As I was saying to those listening today, the thing is you don't need us to tell you guys what to do. Because in so many ways, you have always and continue to inspire us. You've shown us what it means to be Lasallian achievers for the country. You've showed us how we can be of service to the people around us. You've showed us hope, the middle of a crisis. And I hope that everyone stays inspired, driven, and excited to be of service to the country that we love the most.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ronin. I'm sure that you're going to have a lot of new activities coming for the next term. And speaking of hope, we actually would like to ask Caroline a question, especially because this whole pandemic has inspired us also to draw hope, not just from within ourselves, from the people around us, but maybe even from God and our own higher spiritual being. So, Caroline, we'd like to ask, how are you able to ensure that the Lasallians and its community was able to remain strong in faith and even build on it during this pandemic?
Okay, so hi Jian, thank you for that question. Unang-una po sa lahat, I would like to just say thank you so much for Yorme and Miss Fritzie for being here. And of course, it's such an honor to be alongside such amazing leaders from GH and from DLSU. And yes, thank you very much for inviting me, Lasal 2020. As for RC Life, just a background, is one of the Catholic organizations in DLSU, and we really just aim to help students integrate a healthy faith and spiritual lifestyle into their college experience and beyond. And with this pandemic, there has been so much strain on people emotionally, financially, physically, and mentally. But I think that worst of all, this pandemic has left a lot of people just feeling very hopeless and scared for the future, and even worse, the lack of future that they might see. So when my organization and its larger community outside of DLSU saw this, we knew that this was really a call to action. It was a call to help in the way that we knew best, which is to remind people that there is indeed hope. And that hope can only be found by having faith in God and His love for us. As mentioned by Ms. Fritzie earlier, Lasallians, we really center everything that we are on faith. And this is why, because the faith is what's going to get us out of this. It's very important for us that the students of DLSU have the avenues to build that relationship with God and provide for the spiritual needs that many of us tend to overlook. If you look at history, it has shown that it is through the human spirit that we are able to overcome sometimes the worst of struggles. And we want to remind our students just that, to take care of your spirit, because that's what's going to get you through this pandemic. And that's what's going to get you through almost any situation that you're going to face in life. So in order to reach out to more people and make sure that everyone has the opportunity to grow in that spirit, we made all of our activities online. And for us, RC Life, such a small org, it was a very difficult start for us to transfer everything online, from worships to recollections to even mass. So those are just some of the things that we actually do for DLSU. We sponsor masses, we hold online formation activities, recollections, and we sponsor our Thursday holy hours. And yeah, it's generally for the DLSU community, but it's also for anyone who wants to build that relationship with God. So we make our activities as open as possible. But so far, among everything that we've done so far, my favorite activity would be the reflection writing of the students here in DLSU. And it's just amazing to see how written reflections from normal students like you and me, Jian. And it's beautiful how you can see that they managed to turn the fears brought by COVID into stories of faith that spark motivation not only within the DLSU community, but from far-flung places. Like, it's so funny because we see comments like, oh, love from Visayas. And like, okay, wow, one student reached someone from Visayas. And that's how amazing the internet is. And we're just utilizing it at this point. So again, we find really a lot of strength in the simplicity of our actions. And by continuing to serve, by shifting to the online, RC Life has overcome this physical distancing. And yes, we may be separated physically, but know that we're never alone. We've made that effort, so much effort, to make our online presence so strong, because we want to let other people know that no matter how difficult things may get with this pandemic and the other repercussions that come with it, you're never alone, and that there's always going to be at least this one group of people who are ready to talk to you if you need to. And I think this is my organization's strength and contribution to the Lasallian community. We remind people that the smallest gestures have the ability to make a very big and positive impact, and generally you're not alone, and that we will overcome this together. And I guess my message to leaders like me, especially the leaders from small organizations within and outside of the LSU, is to don't be afraid to use your simple activities and your simple actions to reach out to others. I think, like what Yorme said earlier, the only thing that we can do really is to take care of ourselves and to take care of our family. And I encourage everyone to just start there. Start with your family, start with your small organizations, and then build up from that.
Okay. So thank you so much, Caroline. It's actually very inspiring hearing it from a fellow student leader. And it's something that we can take to heart as we move forward during this pandemic. So I would like to ask our reactors a general question. And seeing that our pandemic may last longer than expected, what advice would you actually give the students and members of the Lasallian community to overcome all this uncertainty? Ronin?
Okay.
Okay. Ano ulit yung tanong? What are the...
So Yorme, seeing na tatagal pa ata tong pandemic, anong pwedeng advice for the members of the community and even Lasallian students specifically?
Okay. One thing is for sure. Without vaccine, definitely tatagal. So if there will be vaccine next week, tapos na ang problema natin, salamat sa Diyos. If there's none, then there's another month for us waiting, which is July, and another month, and another month. And before we know it, it's another year. If we look back, the most recent history or available data that we have, that we had a pandemic is 1918 to 1920. At the time, as you have to take into consideration that the travel time between one country to another or continent to another may take months, in the absence of an airplane. The only way at the time in 1918, 1920 is via sea. And the Spanish flu, it was called Spanish flu, but it's not. It didn't really came from Spain. But that's the latest that we had. If there's data that we can compare with the pandemic today. So at the time, there is control of entries and exits and exponentially growing virus infection. Ngayon, mas matindi. Kasi interconnected, like Manila, high density. So talagang magiging part na ng buhay natin si COVID-19 without the vaccine. And hopefully, may awa nga ang Diyos, sana nga magkaroon na ng vaccine. But that's the first, acceptance. If we keep on denying things that some of us may think, wala yan. Ano yan? Di nakakamatay, hindi ka ako tatablan yan. I think medyo mali yun. Hindi yun tamang perspective. So we have to put ourselves in right perspective that there is danger anytime. And the most treacherous virus known to mankind is coronavirus. Because unlike any other much dangerous virus, meron kagad physical, tawag yan, nagre-reflect kagad physically. So that's why they can be noticed that they are a carrier of a particular virus like Ebola. In this case, you can be a normal person like me now, but I am now a carrier. That's possible. So that's how dangerous we are now. Kaya talagang yung mindset natin, perspective natin, kailangan tama. It's gonna be long haul itong laban na to. It's dangerous. So, kailangan talaga maging conscious and aware tayo. And prepare ourselves emotionally and psychologically. There are things in life that we wanted to do, that we normally do, I mean, in a regular time. But those things will never happen soon. Hindi talaga. So you have to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally. That's the key to survive. Don't get me wrong. For so many instances, in the middle of the night, here in City Hall, I slept here for straight 3 months, 24 hours running the city. There are so many nights that parang you're about to give up, and and I grieve in such a way that I'm sending people in the front line only to be infected. And that's a hard decision for a young mayor to experience that. Na alam mong delikado yung pinadadala mong mga empleyado. So, kaya kailangan emotionally and psychologically prepare yourself. I believe with one of the professors said a while ago, there must be a community of doctors, ano ang tawag yan? Psychologists, or ano na huwag tayong mahihiya pag na medyo nagigipit na yung damdamin natin. Medyo pagkukubli ang tawag doon at pagkukunwari. When you feel that kind of low level emotionally, ibig sabihin normal ka kasi hindi lang ikaw ang merong ganung pakiramdam. Ako na mismo umaamin sa inyo. Minsan mababa ang moral ko dahil no matter what you do, no matter the effort, they're still there, blah blah blah. Then took a while to understand, well, I think it's gonna be a new normal to us. So you have to prepare. So that's second, no? Third, again, ulitin ko yung kaninang sinabi ko. Kailangan mong pangalagaan at pagmalasakitan ng sarili mo. By doing so, naturally, indirectly, and directly, you're taking care of your family. I'll tell you one data. This is a fact. In Manila, the infection, the high infection rate is between age of 18 to 39 years old. High morbidity rate is sa senior. Ibig sabihin, konti ang nagkakasakit sa seniors. Konti. Maraming infection between 18 to 39, which is about your age. So anong point ko? Kailangan mas lalo tayo mag-ingat kasi tayo pala nagdadala ng virus sa loob ng bahay. Kasi technically, yung mga seniors, hindi naman talaga lumalabas. Ayaw naman talaga nila as much as possible because they know already the gravity of the situation. But the thing is, pag sila nahawa, mas mataas ang toll rate ng seniors. Marami survival sa 18 to 39, low ang survival sa seniors, pero high infection nasa atin. So ibig sabihin pala, yung mga taong may quarantine pass, see? Good thing, 20 years old below hindi lalabas ngayon if we are going to follow that, and 60 above. So yung may mga quarantine pass, sila ang nakapagpadala ng infection sa loob ng bahay. So ibig ko sabihin, we really have to do some discipline for ourselves. That's basic. Then naturally, you're protecting your family when you go home. Fourth, and the most important one, be compassionate. Yung, alam mo yung man for others, yung katulad yung sinasabi ni Ronin kanina, no, na wala. Instead of getting bored, just help. If there's a possibility of being active, make it productive. No? You're active na, productive ka pa. And you really wanted to be, you have to put yourself in a situation that, ano nga bang pwede kong magawa sa sitwasyon? Bukod sa sarili ko, bilang tao, ano pa pwede kong magawa para sa komunidad ko? Okay? You really have to be compassionate and understanding. Kaya nga minsan natatawa ako sa joke ng tao, which makes sense, sabi niya. Nung araw, pag inuubo ka, nanay mo lang ang nag-aalala sa'yo. Ngayon, pag inubo ka, buong barangay mo na nag-aalala sa'yo. So, the point is, we have to have that kind of bigger heart in understanding the anxiety of the people. We really have to do that, to understand. Then, last but not the least, and the most important of all, after everything's said and done, after everything that we do as human beings, always believe that it is not up to the mayor, the president, to any leaders of our country, city, or the world. You have to believe that there is higher being above us. So parang yung kasabihan sa English, and I hope tama ako, correct me if I'm wrong, minsan masama ang grammar ko, do your best and God will take care of the rest. So you really have to believe that there is higher being among ourselves, among our leaders. Kasi minsan ang last hope ng tao, leaders eh. No, that's not true. We are not magicians. I'm not Jesus. I don't do miracles. Only God do miracles. So you have to believe that. But tandaan ninyo, marami tayong nagdadasal ngayon. So maraming pinakikinggan ng Diyos. Kaya sasabihin din sa atin ng Diyos, gawin mo muna yung bagay na kaya mong gawin para sa sarili mo, para sa kapwa mo. Then leave it to me, all the rest. The way I understand the saying. So we have to do our best and leave it to God. We have to continue to believe that there is God. Yun, sa akin, personally, importante yan. Even in leadership. Kaya makikita mo kami since day one, di ba? Because of the gravity ng problema ng Maynila. Without COVID pa. Yung gravity ng problema. Ano sinasabi ko bandang huli? After we tried our best. Manila, God first. Simply because we surrender. I surrender. We should. No matter ano pa ang paniwala mo, way o bilibasa ako, sa akin si Jesus. O yan, ganun kasimple si Mama Mary. Because that's what I believe. And I respect others' way of talking to God. Ang importante, lahat tayo nagkakaisa. That there is higher being among our leaders or among ourselves. Yun, pinaka-importante. Kasi tingin ko, a pandemic like this, we need the divine intervention. But we don't wait for that. We have to do our part as human beings. So yun ang tingin kong wala akong maituturo sa inyo yung tamang approach. As I have said, there's no playbook about this situation. It's just that there is what we call calculated risk, calculated plan, programs. Yung mali, tiklop kagad ang lamesa, gawa ng bago. Yung tama, continue, i-innovate kagad. But it has to be in a fast-pacing approach because numbers are growing. So we have to be ahead of COVID. But if you're from Manilans here, or from Manila, the least thing that I can say for now, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month. For now, Manila is ahead of COVID in terms of numbers against capacity to handle it. So far. At least, yun lang ma-share ko sa inyo at mabigyan ko man lang kayo ng kapanatagan ng kalooban na medyo na-handle siya. But there's no guarantee. But ang sukli ko lang sa inyo, magiging mainam kami, magiging eficiente kami, we will do our best, and we will not stop until matapos ang lahat ng ito. So remember all those 5.
Okay.
Manila, God first.
Sige po, yung God first. Yan na yung bagong tagline namin sa Manila.
God first, as always.
So, as we know, it's araw ng Maynila today, and we would like to thank Yorme so much for joining us. It's a very busy day. But we just got word also na Yorme still has to do things in Paco Market. So, before you leave, Yorme, we would like to invite you and the rest of our guests today for a Zoom fee. Ang bagong selfie, our Zoom fee, that Sam will be taking right now.
Okay po, I'll just count down to 3. So everyone smile na lang. 1, 2, 3, smile.
Okay. Back after commercial.
Bye, Brother Alex, Teacher Fritzie. Bye-bye. Bye,
Thank you po.
everyone.
Meeting you, sir.
Ronin,
Ingat po.
kamusta sa
Okay,
tatay mo, ha?
Okay po.
Talagang nasa dugo mong public service. Good job. Keep it up.
Thank you po.
Si, Pepe, Luis. Ayan, 4 kami na.
Thank you so much.
Kailangan 4 ka, ha? And your classmates also, of course. Hi to Caroline. Good job, Caroline. Thank you sa inyo lahat. Mag-iingat kayo.
Commercial.
And we'll be back after.
Commercial.
Different places, speaking different voices. But now we are gathered here to fulfill our mission as one, caring for the last, the lost, the least, becoming the change that we all want to see. Big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we lift Jesus in our hearts. We are one. No matter may come our way, together we unite. Guided by our founder, we can stand the test of time, walking on the path of what is right. The Lasallians without limits, now we rise. Together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we lift Jesus in our hearts. Together never shall we fail. Together we say big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we lift Jesus in our hearts. Oh, we are one big family, together one song, with our faith in the service of our community and God. Forever we lift Jesus in our hearts.
back. So I'm giving the floor to Jian Tan for our live question and answer portion. Jian?
Okay, so I have a question here from our live question and answer. How can the youth of today be of service to society in the midst of this pandemic? And this question is directed to anyone in our panel right now.
Jian, can I?
Yes po, Ms. Fritzie. Please go ahead.
You know, our young people are very energetic. I saw that from our student leaders. They're very creative, very innovative. I think we can harness and nurture this creativity, and energy towards helping and being responsive, to the different challenges that we have here in the pandemic. I've shared a while ago that we will be launching the phase 2 of Kada Uno, which has a lot of initiatives or projects specific for the vulnerable communities. I'd like to offer that and as an opportunity, as a venue for our young people to help out. But of course, any little thing, I think Caroline mentioned that, any small thing of reaching out, even listening to one another is already something that we value, a big contribution during this time.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ms. Fritzie. And as our guests here actually shared about Kada Uno, we hope that this encourages the students to participate. So Ronin, would you like to follow up on that?
Yeah. To add to what Ms. Fritzie mentioned, I guess what we can say really is that times are tough, but we are tougher and we are all in this together. So I'd like to think that in every crisis, there is a lot of opportunity. An opportunity to serve and an opportunity to fulfill our duty to the country. Right now around us, we would see so many different initiatives on social media, whether it's led by individuals or organizations. So we would like to encourage everyone to participate in the different webinars, of course, initiatives to help, especially our frontliners and those heavily affected. I hope after all of this, the efforts don't end here. I think the question that we should ask ourselves as we face this new normal is to see how we can be of more service to more people. And I think the answer is really up to all of us to decide. But for me, it begins with collaboration and initiatives like this. And I would like to invite everyone, let's keep working together and getting involved in our own little ways.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Ronin. Brother Alex, would you like to answer the question as well?
All right. My invitation to the young is that while the young possess the zeal in enhancing best practices and embracing change and being able to adapt easily, is to continue educating themselves, to learn, to continue to learn, relearn, unlearn, and know what's true or not. Because while things are changing and things are moving fast and while things are fluid, truth remains, and then truth is sacred. So I think it's every youth, every young person's role and responsibility to preserve the truth, keep the truth, and be educated for the truth. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Brother Alex. We'll make sure to keep the youth engaged, and also idealism is very important right now. So Caroline, would you like to close and answer that question?
So I think that after everything we've heard today from all of our really great speakers, what the youth can do today, I guess that from all the insights and everything, what we have to do as young people is to protect our freedom and fulfill our responsibility. I'm not talking about the freedom to go outside, do whatever we want. Just as Yorme requested, we have the responsibility to be disciplined citizens and to give our leaders a chance. But I'm talking about that freedom to choose to do good and be kind always. That's something that this pandemic can never take away from us. It's that freedom to always choose to be that better person, to be the kinder person, to be that person who reaches out. And that's my very trying to synthesize everything that happened today. I think that's the most important thing is don't let this pandemic paralyze you, and don't let this pandemic stop you from being a good person. And just to quote, someone told me, how do you win? How do you know you've won after this pandemic? How do you know you've won over COVID-19? In a more like sentimental fashion, you've known you've won against COVID-19. If you come out of this quarantine, you come out of this pandemic a better person.
So thank you so much, Caroline. It's a good reminder that we just don't stop doing good, and good will come to us as well. So after hearing from the wonderful experiences and difficult challenges by our excellent guests today, we see that leadership amidst COVID-19 definitely takes courage, initiative, and vision. So we hope that you take these learnings to heart and find the confidence to take part in nation building as part of the Filipino community. Back to you, Elle.
Maraming salamat, Jian. Tama nga na naging isang hakbang ito upang magbigay ng inspirasyon sa mga kabataan katulad natin na sumali sa pagpapabuti ng ating komunidad at buong bansa. Salamat din sa mga sumusubaybay sa ating live stream, lalo-lalo na sa mga nakilahok at nagbigay ng kanilang opinyon at tanong para sa bisita natin ngayon. Nakikita namin ngayon ang inyong mga komento. Hinihikayat namin ang mga manonood na magbigay ng heart reacts. Ayan. So, kung nasiyahan kayo ngayon. Moving forward, it has been a very inspiring session with our speakers today. I hope that this gave everyone a chance to be enlightened about what our leaders from the local government unit to our very own DLSU leaders can do. The LaSalle 2020 team wishes that this event was able to impart awareness and knowledge on the current situation our country faces and leave you with the insight on being a leader, most especially moving forward from the pandemic. On behalf of the team, we would like to thank Mayor ISKO or Honorable ISKO Moreno Domagoso and Ms. Fritzie de Vera for being our speakers today. Brother Alex Diaz for leading our panel of reactors alongside Ronin Leviste and Caroline Sahagun. Jian for being my partner and moderator for today. Brendan Barcena for facilitating our technical production. And of course, the Office of Student Life, the LS 2020 Corps and volunteers, Lasallian Mission Office, and the LaSalle University. This has been Elle Gaoat, your host for today. And see you on the next LaSalle 2020. Lasallians, with Jesus in our hearts, forever. Muli, maligayang araw ng Maynila at Animo, LaSalle!